Hi, Paul Farkas, Good News Broadcast. I'm speaking to Kevin Daum. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. Okay. You wrote a book, ROAR, and Get Heard in the Sales and Marketing Jungle. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Sure. The book is good for anybody who's ever had to sell anything to anybody for any reason. And, that often happens. We think of sales and marketing in terms of business. But, hey, as a kid, we had to try and sell our parents into buying us a toy. And as a husband, I've often had to try and sell my wife on a concept. And, we're always selling something, trying to communicate an idea. And this is a book that, in a very entertaining and charming way, teaches people how to do that in a compelling manner.
Okay. Tell us how it is a fun and charming way.
Sure. I took a story which was about a guy named Ryan Miller who's heading up the marketing for a furniture firm, and the business wasn't going so well, as is common in today's in economic environment. And so Ryan's sitting in Penn Station waiting for a train to go home, gets tapped on the shoulder, and standing there is a large Hasidic Jew named Lenny. And Lenny turns out to be his long-lost high school friend from Livingston, New Jersey, who's now running a very successful packaging business in Brooklyn. And over a series of kosher lunches all around New York in real restaurants with real food, Lenny teaches Ryan the secrets of his success. And one of those secrets is about creating a compelling message using empathy and objectivity and differentiation. And the other one, which is really, I think, the entertaining part for this week, is that he teaches them that you have to talk to the different kinds of buyers out there in different ways. And the good news is there's only 4 kinds of buyers. It's the wise buyer, the cynical buyer, the simple buyer, and the buyer unwilling to ask. Very similar to what we learned in the Passover Seder, as a matter of fact.
Very interesting. So, is this book for Jews only? Let's say.
No, in fact, we worked, my co-author Dan Turner and I worked very hard to make this a book about Jews, but not for Jews. And it does a nice job of showcasing the Jewish culture and the Jewish culture as it relates to our ethics and our approach to business. But we've had great popularity among all secular environments with this book. I've got people everywhere, certainly in Los Angeles and New York that love it, but I got people in Minnesota and the Heartland and the South that they don't even know what a Passover Seder is, but they love it.
Okay. So it sounds good. So tell us a little bit. You have a video on here, right? On your website as well. You have a website. It's called awesomeroar.com, right?
That's correct. I did a wonderful video when Wiley, the publishing company in New Jersey, decided that they were going to publish the book. I committed to making it a bestseller, and so I call it my quest for the New York Times bestseller, or as I like to say it, my quest for the Jewish Super Bowl ring. And so I created a video. I'm about 5'5" and kind of a little portly, so playing football really wasn't a thing. And so this is my version of the Super Bowl ring. And I put a video together that shows my commitment to that. And I've been very lucky to have a good friend who actually has won a Jewish Super Bowl ring, believe it or not. Alan Shlomo Weingrad has taken up my quest and has been helping me with my cause, and so we put him in the video. It's a funny video. It's short and funny like me.
Okay. So now, where's Lenny's restaurant, and what happened there?
The restaurants that Lenny went to,
Yeah.
we actually have a number of restaurants that we showcase in the book. Paul, can we stop for 1 second?
Sure.
Okay, because you know what? I don't remember them off the top of my head, so I got to go grab the book. Can you hang on a sec?
Okay.
All right, hold on. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Okay, I just had to remind myself of which restaurants we used. It's been so busy. So we take that again.
Okay, which restaurants did Lenny go to?
Well, we highlighted a number of restaurants, both in Manhattan and Brooklyn. Mike's Bistro was one of our favorites up on the Upper West Side. El Gaucho, which is a great steakhouse in Brooklyn. Avenue Plaza Dining was another one that we did, and my favorite food over in Midtown Manhattan, and Noah's Noah's Ark Deli was another one that we picked. We looked for restaurants that had interesting food and interesting character, and we even put in the book, we actually put reviews in the back of the book of the different restaurants that we used. It's a whole lot of fun.
Why did you write this book?
I'm a marketer by trade. I hate selling, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's, like I said, everybody's got to sell something, and I just hate having to convince anybody of anything. So to me, if I can have a system, a process for being able to communicate an effective idea, that's very helpful for me. And in my business, I try and help customers, companies, try and figure out what is that message that they're going to connect with their audience on in an empathetic manner, and how can they deal with those buyers in a simple basis. And by writing the book, it gives me an opportunity to get that word out there, help companies be more successful in a difficult environment. And, the other thing that I think is really important, it's been a very difficult couple of years for those of us in the Jewish business community. And I think it's important to extol the virtues of Jewish life and Jewish business and Jewish ethics, and this celebrates it in a wonderful way.
Well, what are some of those, let's say, what are some of those ethics?
I think it's about truth. I think it's about connecting with people on an individual basis. I've mentioned empathy a number of times. Many people just go out into the world and they have an idea they want to push, so they just start by saying, look, here's my idea, and they don't take into consideration who are you dealing with and what's their needs. And I, as a Jew growing up, this is something that I was taught. I was taught by my rabbi. I was taught by my father, who was a rabbi. In fact, both of my parents are in the shul business in Los Angeles. Wow. And I look at that, and I feel for people when I talk to them. I want to know what their need is. And I think that's something that was instilled in me from the culture that I grew up in a Jewish environment.
What is this golden box value proposition?
So the value proposition is the way you communicate compellingly. Some people relate it to like an elevator pitch. You know what an elevator pitch is, where you have to communicate your idea short and sweet from the time you get on the ground floor until the time you get on the 15th floor, right? And so what, like I was saying, most people, they just start telling you, here's my company and here's what we do. They kind of throw up at you, you know what I mean? And what the value proposition does is it allows you to identify with your customer's pain. Show them that you know what they feel. And at that point, they actually like the fact that you're smart enough to see that it's about them, not about you. And then when you provide an objective solution, you're still not selling them. You're just saying, look, I get what the problem is for you. Wouldn't it be great if there was this kind of solution? And then the third part, which is the most important, that I think businesses have a great deal of difficulty with, is how are you different? Why are you the best one to provide that solution? Now, you take this into a personal environment. You think about somebody who's trying to go out there and get a job today. And, they can just go in and throw a resume at some job guy, some job interviewer, and say, here you go. But if they can walk in and say, look, Mr. Interviewer, I'm applying for this marketing job. I know, I've noticed in your company this is what you're missing. Wouldn't it be great if you had someone who could actually fill that need? And by the way, here's my criteria and why I'm the best one to fill that need. That's going to have a lot more impact when they're going out to try and get that job.
It's good realistic business. That's on page 6, Golden Box value proposition, the pain we solve, the best solution, why we are the best solution provider. Logical. So give me another example of something that, so far so good. Okay, give us another example of, a thought that someone might gain and glean from this that they can take into their business world.
Sure. So what I love is this connection with the buyers. Obviously with Passover Seder, we're taught that, we have to teach this story to the 4 sons, the wise son, the wicked son, the simple son, and the son unable to ask. Well, this is how we Jews have been selling the story of Exodus for 3,500 years. With all of us and all of our opinions in business, if there was a better way to sell, somebody would have come up with it by now, right? But the funny thing is we tested out to see if there was any sort of buyer that didn't fall into this process. Every kind of buyer you can imagine is one of these buyers. They're either wise, they're looking for tons of information. That client that comes to you that needs, is just insatiable. It's not that they're looking for you to give them the answer. They're looking for you to help them find the answers. That cynical buyer, the one who thinks they're going to be taken advantage of, that buyer, you need to build trust and show how you can, how you're willing to self-sacrifice. And then they become the most loyal buyer in the world. The simple buyer, the one who says, this is what I want, and this is the way that I want it, it's all about efficiency. If I can't deliver what you want, then I need to not waste my time with you and not waste your time. And then, of course, the buyer unwilling to ask, this is the one who, he's your buyer, but he doesn't even know who you exist. So you got to go out there, you got to get his attention. The fun part of this book is we give you a system to remember. ROAR, R-O-A-R, is a mnemonic, which means each letter, ROAR is an acronym, which means each letter stands for something. Recognize the buyer you're dealing with, observe from their perspective, acknowledge who they are, and resolve their needs. And so we make it simple, and the fun of the book is that every buyer, as we teach about it, not only do Lenny and Ryan discuss the buyer, but they go back in their history together and talk about how they actually succeeded in this, in using this system without even knowing about it. One of my favorite stories in the book is where Ryan talks about how Lenny's mom didn't want him to play with Glenn. So he had to convince her that it was worthwhile for him to play with Lenny, and he used the ROAR technique. She was the cynical buyer, and he was able to convince her.
Okay, sounds great. Last question. What's good news for you, Kevin?
Good news for me is making it onto the New York Times bestseller list, and that's what we're working towards, and I hope to come back and report to you that we did a good job of getting there.
Well, you have a lot of wealth of knowledge in this book. Congratulations. I like the comparison to 35, as you say here, 3,500 years of history, and utilizing some of those thinking thoughts. Congratulations. It's a good job.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Take care.
It's a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
All right.